All right, Dave Wadsworth here from XLR8 Performance Coaching. Now, when you're thinking about your season plan and what you want to achieve and how you're going to do it, at XLR8, I think there's at least 5 physical things that are going to determine your endurance performance and how successful your race season will be. Now, some of them are really well known. One is VO2 max. The next is your threshold power, or what percentage is that threshold sitting under your VO2 max power. The third is economy. This is how efficiently you can produce that power. The more efficient you are, the faster you go. Newer one that's called durability, which is basically your ability to resist fatigue. And XLR8, the last one I think of is speed. So what's VO2 max? It's the upper ceiling of your aerobic system. Now, threshold power is the power that you basically time trial at, and it's one of the best known determinants of success in endurance sports. Now, economy is really how efficiently you can produce the power, and that's measured basically as how much oxygen you consume to produce a watt or 100 watts of power. Now, fatigue resistance is a really important one. This is the ability to keep producing power similar to when you're fresh, when you're at the end of your hard race, when you're already fatigued. It's your ability to recover during the race from hard repeated efforts, like a hilly road race where you have to punch it above threshold again and again. Those that can continue to punch high power do much better. Now, one that I think is really key that's often missed is speed. And even in the current era where we're seeing guys like Tadej Pogacar or Remco Evenepoel win solo, the majority of races still require a sprint to beat your opponents. That could be a big bunch kick, it could be just beating the guys in the break. But even if you're not a super fast sprinter, you still need a surge of speed to get across to the break or to launch your attack to do a solo bid for victory. Now, an athlete who can't find that high gear tends to be the athlete who never wins. So speed is still important. So this is a really tough thing when you're building your program. How do we balance speed and endurance? How long does each quality take to develop? Which ones do you work on first? Or do I try to do a bit of everything every week? What do you do specifically in your training to produce each physical component, and when in the season do you do it? How do you know when you've done enough and it's time to shift focus onto something else in order to keep improving? This is exactly why you need a coach. Now, even if you get these top 5 physiological characteristics dialed into your program, there are still other really important things you need in place to support the development of these characteristics. So in the modern era of precision endurance exercise, as a coach, my job is to individualise your training program to your unique physiology and the target event demands, and then consider the recovery levels required to maintain performance without getting injured and without getting sick. But the other factors that underpin these physical performance variables, well, there's lots. And a recent expert consensus paper identified at least 26 of them that support the 5 things we've talked about so far. The first one is good overall health. This is key to support the high volumes of training that you need to get to your peak performance. And this will include things like proper sleep and recovery and proper support for muscle renewal and repair in the form of optimal nutrition. Now, optimal nutrition includes things like adequate energy intake. And whilst nutrition is a really big field that goes beyond the brief mention I'm giving it today, I do want to highlight the importance of adequate iron intake. Iron is a micronutrient that's needed to make red blood cells and hemoglobin to carry oxygen to your working muscles. Lacking this oxygen carrying capacity will wreck your aerobic system, which is the heart and soul of endurance performance. There are also key hormones such as testosterone, erythropoietin and cortisol. These are required to adapt positively to your training. For example, testosterone will stimulate muscle development and fat burning. EPO stimulates the production of red blood cells to enhance oxygen carrying capacity in your blood. And cortisol is one of the key deep energy level regulators. Psychological factors are also important. Things like motivation, resilience, self-confidence. These are critical to support peak performance. Not to mention a robust immune system, which again relies on adequate sleep, recovery and nutrition to function properly. So putting this all together in your program, there'll need to be at least 5 physical factors that you aim to develop to reach your peak. These are VO2 max, threshold power, economy, durability or fatigue resistance, and speed. To support these things, you'll need proper nutrition. If you're trying to build an F1 engine, you need to give it the correct fuel. This includes optimal levels of micronutrients such as iron. You'll need proper recovery and sleep. You'll need to develop the psychological skills like intrinsic motivation, resilience or mental toughness, and self-confidence. For more information about how to do these things, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and for personalised coaching, reach out via my website at XLR8 Performance Coaching.